Namaste, angels. This is the weekly love reading for the period of today, Sunday, February 2nd, 2222, through the 8th. So it's like the 2222 equals 8, and we're going through the 8th. Also, this date, the way it's really written, at least in the United States or on this side in Europe, they may write it a different way. But here, it's 02022020, and a combination like that hasn't occurred in 900 years, according to ABC News. I have it posted on my Facebook. Maybe I'll share it on my YouTube channel too. So we're going to get into the love reading, beginning with the dice. We are starting with sex. Can you see what's going on there? There we go. 29, which it represents spiritual partnership. And no. This can be yes or no questions. Same things that came up in the general, I believe. Spirit says cocktail. Massage. And try again. And Spirit says no. He still says no. So today is the feast day of tomorrow is the feast day of Saint Blaise. I'm pretty sure it was the Taurus reading, not the last one I did, but the one before that, so a month ago, where I felt that I was getting a message about Saint Blaise. And I think I may have said at that time that his feast day was 2/11, because I was recalling that there was a feast day 2/11. And I think I may have said that that was the feast day of Saint Blaise. I'm not sure if I did or not. But if I did, that was incorrect. There is a feast day on 2/11, however, which explains why I was stuck on one, but it is the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes, which is a celebration of an apparition of Mary in Lourdes in France. We'll talk about that next week in the general reading. But for those of you who wanted to get your throat blessed, for whatever reason, you've got some sort of ailment or, throat chakra stuff, you feel blocked, having trouble communicating, anybody can walk into a Roman Catholic church on the feast day of St. Blaise and get their throat blessed. I mean, you may want to call and find out what time your local church is open, but when it is, they will be blessing throats. So feel free to walk in there, even if you're not Catholic or not a Christian or not religious at all. I certainly am not, but if I wanted to get my throat blessed, I damn sure would. So that it is what it is. Getting into the cards, those of you who saw the general reading may recognize these. I was so moved to use these decks for a square spread. I said I would try again during the love reading. And then I decided to try again with the same cards. I'm like, maybe there's a reason why I wanted to do it so badly with these cards. I just felt like I ran out of time and I wanted to end that reading and get into the general. So the cards that I had pulled from these decks, there were a couple that I used for the advice. I just stuck them in arbitrarily. I promise you can trust me. Okay, so speaking of trust, the card that is most directly representing the fire signs in love this week is the Seven of Swords. And it can be about distrust. Or at least feelings of distrust. Not necessarily that the distrust is warranted, but you may have trust issues in your relationship, or you may have trust issues as an individual that is preventing you from having successful relationships or a successful relationship right now, or meeting somebody, opening yourself up. Maybe throat chakra, because swords are, again, representative of the air signs. So it could be some sort of communication that is blocked, or, or maybe you actually received a communication that you don't trust, that you didn't believe to be true. And so that's a problem for you. This is Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, male or female, masculine or feminine. Seven of Swords. Further to this, if you are already in a committed relationship, the message that's imperative is that trust is crucial between the two of you, right? Like without trust, like where are you guys going? You know, what's going to happen? So if you feel suspicious about your partner, you definitely need to communicate again with air signs. And if you're having trouble communicating, you may want to go get your throat blessed. You know, if you need some help in the throat chakra area to tie all that together. Also, there is a transit that begins this week that I talk about during the general reading, which is the fact that Mercury enters Pisces, where it will go retrograde, just like right after Valentine's Day in a couple weeks. But for now, it begins the transit, and it would be in shadow since it's going retrograde soon. It would have already entered shadow and in Pisces. So with Pisces being in control of like our deepest like subconscious, including love, like unconditional love or true love, Mercury might be able to help you in that area, or to cause you miscommunication, and maybe why you're having feelings of distrust. Like maybe you don't even know from where these feelings came, and you know they're just sort of plaguing you right now. You may be helped by the fact that Venus is to the planet of love, as compared to Neptune, the planet of unconditional love, or true love, deepest love. Venus is entering Aries, which is sort of organized and fiery and representative of you guys, right? This is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So that may be helpful to you too in getting something sparked up, conversation sparked up perhaps, and the juice is flowing in terms of communication. But you're definitely going to want to talk it out if you've got some sort of trust issue with an existing partner, and even if it's difficult, right? Even if it cuts. Sometimes the truth hurts. It's painful. We still got to talk about that stuff, because being passive aggressive is just going to make things worse. And it's actually sort of like an ugly trait or attribute. If you are single, looking for love, you may meet somebody interesting, but we're going to want to try to avoid avoid that appearance of I'm not interested, even if we can put off some sort of like an air of we're not really interested in the person or a relationship in general or something like that. And with the 7 of Swords upright, that will put people off and they will move on to the next potential suitor, rather than engage and get into something that's like, worth more than they're willing to put into it with a stranger. They're not going to do it. They're just going to move on. They want balance. You should want balance. And the way to get balance is to be more even keel and, open. But if you have, again, trust issues, that may be your difficulty in being open. And so you may want to work on that, knowing that this energy is about, or, perhaps not not attempt to connect with anybody new, to meet anybody new this week, if you don't feel like you can handle it. Because you don't want to act like you can't handle it and then again give off an air that you can't handle it or you're not ready. Earth signs. You had in this placement, in the general reading, the King of Cups. You guys had a good card too. I don't remember what it was, but it was a positive card. The only sign, if a sign or an element had a card that was kind of funky, it was air. We had the Tower upright, but I clarified it with the 3 of Wands. In any case, you guys had the King of Cups upright, and so that is an indication of being ready for love. But if you're already in a relationship, well, I guess this can kind of tie in together. So let me start again. King of Cups, very loving guy, right? Generous, attractive, romantic, all of that stuff. But with the Page of Pentacles, which as a court card could very much be representative of a specific sign, and it's your element. It's your element. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. So your specific sign. That's kind of cool that you guys got a court card of your element in there. Some of you may be mixed with water, or maybe your relationship is with somebody of water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But you could have a wandering eye right now. And crossing the high priestess, who is super attractive. But again, the placement of the air signs, maybe an air sign is who, the one person that you're sort of checking out, because we're going to be super attractive right now. Even if we don't feel like it, that's what the high priestess in reverse can mean. Like we're not seeing the attraction that other people are seeing, but that attraction is coming in many forms. Like people want to be our friend, people want to date us, people want to hire us, people want to, work around us, they want to communicate, strangers want to talk to you and spark conversations, but we may not be feeling our most attractive. But with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and maybe again, this is Mercury, both Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury, or both Taurus and Libra and Gemini are ruled by Venus. So it could be some of that, those transits affecting us here. But Virgos, yeah, some of you, even if you're in a committed relationship and it's solid and you're happy and it's all good, you could find yourself sort of getting distracted. Again, yeah, that wandering eye. So you may want to think about it, do some introspection as to what you have to lose, or, just deciding if you have anything to lose. Like, is your relationship really healthy and happy? Or, have you just been lying to yourself and claiming that it was? Because if it's not, then maybe that's why your eye is wandering, and it's an indication that maybe it's time to start thinking about ending that relationship and, considering a new one. Perhaps with a specific person, perhaps with a specific air sign, although not necessarily. If your relationship is truly happy and you would hate for, to hurt your partner, or potentially, or to cause any damage to the relationship and the respect and the trust that you have between you, then you're going to want to, put your eyes back in your head and get yourself together. And then maybe find ways to focus on your relationship and to put that spark that I was talking about. Remember saying spark might spark a conversation? Well, to look at it in a different way in terms of the fiery energy and the spark, Venus, Taurus's ruler, which is entering Aries, you want to put that spark back into your relationship maybe instead. And if you want to keep it, if you're single and already interested in someone, it may mean that neither one of you is really ready to settle down. So they may be, again, all over the place too, and having a bunch of people that are attracted to them and maybe dating several people or something like that. And you're not really ready either. You're interested, but you're still checking other people out too. And so that doesn't mean that you guys can't connect, can't, begin something, but you probably shouldn't rush into a relationship. It's okay. Have fun and see where things go in a really organic way. That's what we're supposed to do anyway. With the Three of Cups, oh, that's interesting too. With the Three of Cups in reverse, in a general sense, the Three of Cups can mean not necessarily somebody romantic, but a successful reunion. And if not even necessarily with a person, it can be with something, like something or someone returns to your life, and it's something that makes you happy. So it's possible for any of the elements here and any of the signs that it's about an ex. And again, maybe especially those of us with the heavy fire in our chart, or we're a direct fire sign sun. With the Seven of Swords, it can mean somebody's coming back too. We're recovering something. Because the Seven of Swords can be about theft, like literal stealing or loss of things. So it can mean somebody's coming back, but with it upright, whatever your deal was before, whatever the situation was between you, whatever kind of person they were that caused the breakup, or you were that caused the breakup, or whatever. Sometimes people just part ways without anybody breaking up. We just lose contact or stuff like that. That's what's going to, like, time may have passed, but the people are the same. People, the differences that you had, which the high priestess in reverse or even upright can be about differences, often stark differences. Like I'll say, like one is like, just like in the card, we got these two pillars and one is black and one is white. I'll say like that can be a stark difference sometimes. Age or financial, especially crossing you guys and the page of pentacles. And so, like one may have money, one doesn't, or one feels inferior to the other, or like all of that is going to be, one is older, one is younger. If those things are the case, it's going to remain the case. It's still the case. So you have to think about, am I interested in, pursuing this relationship? Maybe you've matured. Maybe it bothered you before that maybe you're a male and the female makes more money or has more money, maybe she's older. I'm just doing this because this is a page, remember? So it can be the younger person. And the high priestess is sort of this, very regal. There's only one high priestess in the deck, but being a two, she can definitely be about partnerships and love, first and foremost. And since this is the love reading, definitely looking at it like that. So, maybe male ego and or masculine ego had prevented a relationship because, she is what he at least sees, even if it's not necessarily true, as this, again, very, very like regal being. And maybe there was a feeling of inferiority or, maybe he earns less money, she's more together and that sort of thing. Or maybe just the fact that being younger, right? She's older, prevented a relationship in the past. So the Seven of Swords shows up and says, just a reminder, if I'm here, it can mean somebody's coming back, but things are the same as they used to be, So you're still going to have to deal with that concern, issue, problem, whatever you want to call it. And maybe it doesn't bother anymore because you've grown, you've matured, not only in age, but maybe emotionally and spiritually. And so now you can get beyond it and take a risk. Take a risk. Like the Fool, Major Arcana card 0, the Fool, all about a leap of faith. And the Ace of Cups also behind it. So this is about new beginnings, emotionally fulfilling ones. The fact that it was in reverse, maybe it could take some time, maybe delay to get started, maybe because of Mercury retrograde. In fact, if you're going to have a long-lasting relationship, it's better that you don't start it or seal the deal, into the commitment during Mercury retrograde, or at least it's said to be. So that may be why there's in reverse. And the Three of Cups is also in reverse. So they're all facing the same direction and therefore, can be intertwined the way that I, do my readings and read the energy. But the Three of Cups can definitely be somebody coming back. And again, it's something that makes you happy. So it makes sense that the Ace of Cups and even the Fool potentially are also showing up there in connection to this Seven of Swords. Oops, I put him upright. He goes upside down too. So we covered everybody that was single and or coupled, right? I believe we did. If you're single and you don't have somebody that's interested in you already or that in whom you're interested already, then get out there. And somebody may be coming back, from your past as well that, will fit the bill for what you're looking for. But again, the situation is the same, or they're the same person they were at the time in relation to your separation, perhaps the reason why you separated, as are you potentially. All right, air signs. Our card fits our energy, and it was in reverse as well. Put it up. I put it right side up. I kept looking at the spread like something's not right. Okay, so the High Priestess for love. In a general sense, she's a very mysterious person and magical person. And so she can make for, a really interesting situation in terms of love. That mystery and that magic surrounds the interests and the love as well. And so she can make it a magical time and a mystical time. Particularly if you're a female, you may really be feeling feeling like people are throwing themselves at you. The thing is, and so now to also look at it in consideration that it's sitting here underneath the Seven of Swords, you can be attracting people that are both good for you and people that are not so good, people that are bad for you, maybe people that you shouldn't trust, or people that literally are thieves, somebody that would steal something from you, or something like that. And it's not always easy to tell, who from who, especially during a transit involving Pisces. And for some of us, again, it could be our direct ruler, Mercury, at least in the case of us Geminis, that is entering Pisces. So we may be most affected by this. Also, the High Priestess for me is a Gemini. Right? She's even Major Arcana card 2, Roman numeral 2, which is the Gemini symbol. And it may be an air sign, with some water, heavy water, or, like a real, somebody who's normally really intuitive, but perhaps because of the Piscean energy to which Mercury is going to be connected this week, we could be having trouble too, like telling the difference, who's who, and, a good person for us versus somebody not so good for us with this Seven of Swords here. Also, we're all super, we have this power of femininity, whether we are a male or a female or masculine or feminine. We have our feminine side. And speaking about the King of Cups that sat here in the position of the earth signs in the general reading, he's about balanced energy, balanced masculine and feminine energies. So even a male can have this emotional and watery side of the King of Cups, but still like have himself in check. He's not he's not like wearing his emotions on his sleeve, or bursting into emotional outbursts or anything like that. He's in control, but he's in touch with his emotions. So it's a really balanced energy. And, we all have, as far as the air signs, we all have this feminine power on which to lean on during this period with the High Priestess showing up. We got to be careful not to abuse it, or it will backfire on you. It is strong. It is strong. So don't use it as a means to trick people, to manipulate anybody. Remember, this is our energy, right? These swords. So some of us may even be both air and fire. I am, right? I'm a Leo rising. So definitely these swords that are here, I'm going to want to be careful with how I use them. But we all going to be don't manipulate anybody with that feminine power. Use it in an honest way, not a distrustful way, not a tricky way. If you are somebody who dates women, whether you yourself are a woman, a female or a male, then you could, with the High Priestess, find that you are interested in a woman that is sort of distant, right? Coming off unapproachable. And that may really be her. The High Priestess can be somebody that's very to herself. And, Geminis in general can be somebody that can be people who are very to themselves. A lot of people have the misunderstanding that we're just sort of like happy-go-lucky. We want to be around everybody and we want to be up in everybody's mix. And it's really not true. There's a strong Gemini trait that many of us have where we have to be alone a lot of the time. And as they say, real G's move in silence. I can tell you, as a real G with a lot of Gemini in my chart, Gemini Sun, Gemini Mercury, Gemini Venus, Gemini Vesta, I think. Yeah, I got a whole bunch. I tend to move in silence. I don't like to be around a bunch of people and stuff like that. And so there can be this sense that a person is unapproachable because they are that type. Just because I like to be, chill by myself some of the time, a lot of the time, even if you want to say. And I never like to be around a bunch of people. Like, I don't like crowds and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't mean I'm not interested in a relationship, So just because somebody's coming off unapproachable doesn't mean that they necessarily are. However, with the High Priestess in reverse, they may very well be. That may be the way that she stays. Trust your instincts. So here comes the Seven of Swords again, in terms of trust your instincts, your intuition, to let you know, whether you're chasing something or someone that can't be caught, that's completely out of reach and unattainable to you. And in terms of perception of it, again, that may be the thing that's coming back up between exes, between somebody that you dealt with before. It may be that have been this sense of, again, like some of those differences that I talked about. Because of some of those differences, like, I can't get that girl, it's that sort of thing. I'll never be good enough for her. So that would be in your mind. That's on you. That's not on her. That's something that you'd have to correct if that's the case. And you've got to, trust your instincts. And sometimes the Seven of Swords can be about lack of confidence and, esteem too. Being afraid of risks. Being afraid to be that fool that's back there in reverse. Because the Fool in reverse can actually mean that your need for freedom, so your need to be by yourself, like a Gemini, or there is, like an Aquarius, that's what they're all about, right? Freedom and humanitarianism. That's what those are their traits. So they need to be by themselves as well. That desire for freedom could be interfering with your love life or with your relationships when the Fool in reverse comes up. So in connection to these other cards, we may be giving off an appearance of not wanting to be bothered, even though we do. So, that's for us to check. If we want relationships and people approach us with them, then we need to, we're interested, we need to act like we're interested, or at least be clear about what might be going on. Well, I saw this, you saw the reading, so now hey, for the next week or so, I may be sort of this way or that way because of the way the stars are aligned, but believe me, I'm interested. Whatever you got to do to convey that. If you're in a committed relationship, also, the same way I talked about wandering eye potentially and maybe potentially being super attractive to other people, with the Fool in reverse, it can also be giving an appearance because of that desire and need for freedom that you're not in a committed relationship, that you're not, or that you're not taking your relationship seriously, and that may be the cause for distrust. So all of these things just keep tying together, keep them in mind. Moving on to the water signs. The Four of Cups in reverse means that you might finally be ready to stop letting things from the past hold you back. So maybe that King of Cups was indeed you that was in this position. And again, one of those things, that's why you've changed into the Page of Pentacles now. You're interested, and you're sitting here next to the Seven of Swords because you're considering maybe revisiting something that you had in the past that for whatever reason you allowed something to plague you. The Four of Cups in reverse is about like these ghosts from the past, like we're ready to face them and even move beyond them toward, something far more happier and positive for us, just a brighter future. And speaking of the brighter future, I talked about that specifically too, because the overall energy in the general reading was the Sun also in reverse, if I remember correctly. So water signs, basically, you guys just need to, maybe spend a little bit of time thinking about what it is you want. And if wanting to revisit something, it's revisiting it in the sense of a new opportunity, like that Ace of Cups is presenting a new opportunity. Don't let the energy of the past or your insecurities of the past affect your ability to move forward. Contrarily, if you're not interested from somebody from the past, or a relationship from the past, then just move forward and don't look back. That can be the way in which your past no longer affects you. And of course, this is going to be for people who are, single or coupled. If you're coupled, you're in a relationship, but you've been allowing things from your past to affect you and to, prevent your relationship from moving forward, or at least in a healthy way, then you're going to, with the Four of Cups in reverse, it indicates you're going to be releasing those feelings and finally able to move on. So maybe you had like trust issues from the past, from a previous relationship or something that's affecting your current relationship. And you're going to finally like move beyond that and realize, okay, this person isn't that person. And this person has been very good to me. This person has been King of Cups to me, for example. And, they don't deserve me treating them like a crook that I can't trust. So I'm gonna get that together on my end. All right, I think we did enough with these. So now let's see what we can get out of this. I want to try to be quick. So this is the Divine Feminine. The masculine as it relates to the feminine. Himself. And the union or connection as a whole. Oh, goodness. I think I should move these up a little. Overall, what energy the masculine, because this is from the perspective of the masculine, would have the feminine give to the union or connection this week. And this is for, whether you're single, you're coupled, whatever. We're talking about higher selves. We're talking about that Neptunian energy, that Piscean energy. What the masculine himself is willing to give to the union or connection this week. What the universe would have each or both give to the union this week, and even wants to help us with, but we have to, affirm and allow it to, because we have free will. And the outcome. So again, our overall energy is Major Arcana card 4, the Emperor, which represents for me the planet Mars, ruler of the signs of Aries, where Venus enters this week on the 7th, and also Scorpio. Mars, the masculine planet of love. Divine Feminine. It's another 7 of Swords. So we may be the ones, for the most part, who are dealing with the trust issues, or maybe, again, a return of someone from the past, or we're wanting to return to somebody. We're hoping somebody returns to us. And maybe even more specifically, again, this could apply more so to feminine of the fire persuasion. So again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Or perhaps because the feminine planet of love, so everyone's ruler in that sense in terms of being a feminine, Venus, moving into Aries. Maybe so we're all experiencing this energy of the 7 of Air. Since the 7 of Air or Swords was also in the last spread in that placement for the fire signs. But the Air or Swords would be Venus. And the fact that it's the 7 again could be because of the Aries. The masculine as it relates to the feminine, and maybe in typically, specifically, I'm saying typically, it's been always, honestly, as it relates to this energy or card here. It is the Ten of Fire. So to this time is no different. I was just saying this is probably coming up because of the Aries energy. Yeah. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance. So this is about imbalance. And that can cause stress-related health concerns. Yeah, so can paranoia about, trust issues and stuff like that. So it's something that we need to work through and release and allow to end. The 10 means, if we get past it, then an Ace of Wands is before us, right? That's the next step. We have to let go of this energy. And this can be the masculine on the receiving end of the distrust, or he could even be, the person who is, distrustful, whether it's in the feminine or in himself. Again, it can be about lack of confidence and self-esteem. That means I don't trust myself to be capable of XYZ. Masculine as it relates directly to himself. Balance. Did I say this was imbalance? And this is balance. And it's about balance being restored because this card, Major Arcana card 14, balance, is actually Major Arcana card 14, temperance in the traditional tarot, which represents fire sign Sagittarius. So you see how it's all connecting in? This is from the fire signs. I knew I was supposed to use the same cards. The need for balance and moderation. So yeah, healthy energy, not this extreme nor that extreme. Somewhere in the middle is where we need to meet, in a healthy medium, as they say. Wait for perfect timing. Right now, this week in particular might not be the right time. This month might not be the right time because Mercury's going retrograde in a couple weeks. In like 14 days. So there could be reasons why we're waiting for perfect timing. However, there are a few more days this month that I had already been feeling were going to be particularly conducive to love and love energy, and maybe days on which certain things culminate for some of us, which beginning with the first day for which this reading is today, 2/2, and then again on 2/11, which again is the feast day of Our Lady of Lords. So maybe Mary, mother energy, like Venus, helps us. The 14th should be nice for some of us. I'll probably do a special reading for Valentine's Day too, just to see. Although I try not to typically make a big deal about Valentine's Day because it can often be, just a funky, not a good day for some of us. But I think I may. In any case, temperance is about, for me, restoration, recovery, being made whole. So where things are in balance, this is the scales being leveled out. This in a healing way. It's a super healing energy from the universe. Again, represents the sign of Sagittarius, so that fire sign. Like our overall energy that represents the sign of Aries, more fire. When I pick this up, I see here's more Venus right here underneath it. Major Arcana card 8, Justice, which represents the sign of Libra. And then here's more air, also upright behind it. The Page of Air, who's logical, honest, impulsive, and curious, and may also be representative of Venus or Mercury. Challenging information, delays or changes to plans. We talked about things being delayed. And truth delivered without tact, and the need to communicate and to be honest. So reminder of that too with the 7 of air here. Very important to be honest. Justice also about balance and the scales being evened out. The universe sort of restoring healthy balance energy to the world where something's out of whack, where one extreme versus the other has been occurring. They sort of even the playing field. So this is Venus doing that. And again, Mars. So those two cards, one on top of the other, very Venus in Aries. The masculine, as it relates to the union or, connection as a whole this week, his feelings on that. Wow, it's another Ace of Cups. We just saw the Ace of Cups in that pile when I picked up the cards in the last spread, and here it is again. What a card to have as representing the union as a whole. This is about reconciliations, right? Reunions, like our Three of Cups. And it's about new beginnings, fresh start, new relationships, meeting somebody new. It's about relationships deepening and developing into something that's, really emotionally fulfilling. It's about an increase in our intuition, which could be because of Pisces, the Piscean energy, and more dreams and ideas and fantasies, from an intuitive perspective. Falling in love, or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition, maybe even a new home. They say home is where the heart is, so it could be like a metaphor too. Overall, Major Arcana card 16, life experience, or the Tower, which, as I said, the air signs had the Tower as their card in the general reading, and I clarified it with the Three of Wands. A significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. This can just be you having an epiphany, maybe because of that increased energy with the Ace of Water or Cups. It's time to spread your wings. Right. I'll pull the next upright card for that one to clarify the Tower. And it's the Six of Water, the Six of Cups, which again also can be about not only reconciliation and somebody coming back from your past, like exes and stuff, or friends from the past that return and then develop into something more. But this is also, in terms of love, representative of soulmate relationships, like divine unions, twin flame relationships as well, the Six of Cups. Memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, and romanticizing the past. For everybody, of course, but maybe the strongest for air and water, because life experience can be kind of death-like for me. There was a lot of Scorpio energy in the general as well, and there's all this air energy between Mercury and Venus. So maybe that. Put that back there. The masculine, what the masculine would have the feminine, what energy the masculine would have the feminine give to the union or situation this weekend. Wow. It is the Two of Fire or Two of Wands, which is the divine union or twin flame card of the tarot. You've come into your own. New partnerships or contracts. Continue to move forward. Twos, also about faith. So sitting here underneath the Seven of Air, which is also representative of the feminine, this could be, again, about distrust, either in yourself or somebody else. So instead, there's a guidance to have faith and, confidence, esteem. But this could also be moving you toward those soulmate unions, perhaps from the past. Give that some consideration. Could be the message for some of us. With the masculine himself, what energy he himself is willing to give to the union or connection this week. The King of Air, who is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. So it'd be nice if some of them did some of that, right? Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. The King of Air is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Could be Mercury himself. Could be Venus herself, even though it's a king. Often for me, the king is like a lawyer or a judge. This could be about, something fair, a fair division. For some, this can be about, again, them getting out of an old commitment, maybe separation or divorce. For others, this can be about communication and to finally, talk some of these things out with either, with a new partner, it's sitting here under the Ace of Water, or with an old partner for a new beginning, or with somebody with whom we are reconciling. It could also be pointing toward air and water connections. what the universe would have each or both of us do and even wants to help us with. But, we have free will, so we have to decide whether we're going to allow it to. We have to affirm. Is Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. So doing that introspect, that going within to figure things out. The universe wants to help us to figure things out. Probably going to send you messages, synchronicities, and signs. The Hermit can also, for me, be like a professor, somebody that teaches you or something. So to help you get through something, like a professional, like the King of Air. And may indeed be a King of Air, because the Hermit represents the sign of Virgo, also ruled by Mercury, along with Gemini. And the Hermit can be a lawyer for me too. So again, some of us may have some legal issues that we're having to work out in connection to love and relationships, maybe something in family court, maybe like a separation, a legal separation, or a divorce. Spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching, self-discovery. Also, thinking about the last spread and the position, the Page of Pentacles is for me the Virgo too. It's not necessarily traditionally in tarot practice, but for me, because the page is the younger and more youthful, I tend to attribute it to the mutable sign. And the mutable sign of the element of earth is Virgo. And this can be, again, some of you with the wandering eye and needing to go within to think about what you're going to do. If you want to maintain your current relationships, if you're ready to look for a new relationship, if you're interested in somebody else, again, possibly an air sign being the strongest, but it can be anybody, because it was crossing that High Priestess. So even of the air signs, probably first and foremost a Gemini. For those of you who are interested in someone else, could be very well a Gemini. Actually, I shared on my Facebook this, I think it was Vedic astrology. It was some sort of something, or Hindu. You could look up like your natal chart in this thing. I'll send it around again. Maybe I'll put it on my YouTube too, since I don't remember exactly what the name of it was. You'll recognize it when you see it there, or I'll make some sort of indication like this is what I was talking about in the love reading. And you can do a free natal chart there, and it's totally different from Western astrology. So it made me a Taurus, for example, and it said that I best connect with other Geminis or Virgos, which actually has been true. My children's father, my ex-husband, is a Gemini, and the only other two serious boyfriends I had in my life were both September Virgos. So just thinking about the air and an earth thing, and the fact that, if this is this is speaking to Virgos, separate and apart from speaking to all of us in a general sense, it could very well be talking about you and a Gemini. And the outcome. 10 of Air. The end of a difficult situation. Again, some of us are ending a situation with this King of Air showing up here for the masculine. For sure. Some of us over here, the feminine, ending this sort of situation or energy that we had with the 7 of Air. Embrace the change and expect things to get better. Look forward to things being better. Don't expect to keep revisiting the negative past. Somebody may even be recovering from an addiction of some sort. And the addictions can be anything. I'll go ahead and pull another card to further clarify the 10 of Air too. It will be the next upright card, which is this one. And it's the 10 of Water now. So yeah, moving on from an energy of difficulty toward one of happiness and maybe, feeling surrounded by love and family and just good feelings. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met and you have trustworthy relationships. Also, specific to love, the 10 of Cups can mean if we've been worried about our relationships or about ourselves in relation to relationships and, is anything ever going to work out? The worry is unnecessary when the 10 of Water shows up. It says it means you don't have anything to worry about, even if something is appearing off. So for example, to what I was saying in the last spread, if somebody's coming off an air sign, they don't want to be bothered or whatever, and that may very well not be the case. When the 10 of Water is showing up, it's saying it's not the case. If that's what you're worried about, if that's what you're, You feeling like you can't trust them because, you know, you don't think they're really interested in you. Not the case. All right. And we'll see if we have as good luck with this deck as we did with that one, because I didn't reshuffle either one of these decks. Something said leave them as is, so I'm happy I did with that last one. The next spread, from the perspective of the universe, the next and last spread, divine being or couple. So male, female, masculine, feminine, single, coupled, whatever. This is you. Recent past. Near future. Masculine's higher self. Blocks to individual or shared progress. What the feminine can do to help herself, right, despite these blocks, or maybe because of those blocks. What the masculine can. What the universe would have each or both do, and even wants to help us with, but we have to first affirm because we have free will, and the outcome. Again, the overall energy is the Queen of Autumn, who is thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious, and can also be mother. Again, Venus, ruler of the sign of Taurus. You'll be given advice that's both practical and creative, and it should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. So that's what I was saying too. Like, it's very important with the cards that came up to keep a positive attitude, positive outlook. And that came up with the in the general reading too, because of the sun in reverse. Divine being or couple. Wow, the King of Cups is back. He is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A Pisces, perhaps, with that transit, Mercury in Pisces. Scorpio or Cancer. Warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person. So not a Seven of Swords, a trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. So it's genuine. Recent past. The Three of Autumn may have met somebody at work or out with friends in a group or something, and or somebody who holds you in very high regard, and perhaps you them. And this is a positive card in terms of love. It's a good omen, the Three of Autumn, whether any of those apply or not. Your most satisfying and profitable career or relationship, right? Let's cross out career. Relationship comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. So that may be what went on in the recent past. In the recent past, you may have decided, you know, I let other things get in the way before. And I'm deciding now that this is what I want. It's the path, you know, that I want to take, whether it's the road less traveled or the one, you know, the one that everyone goes on, whatever. I'm doing it because I want to. Listening to your heart and doing what brings you joy. That's what you got to do. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talents and true self to shine forth out into the world. So you may have had a recent revelation about that. Near future. Making a decision once and for all. Seven of Summer. Also, this is very Piscean for me. It's not a court card, but the Seven of Cups always tends to represent like the sign of Pisces for me, regardless. And the planet Neptune, because it's all about this dreamy energy, sort of head in the clouds, fantasizing. And that's definitely going to be happening with the transit that we enter this week. Tomorrow, actually. It's tomorrow, that Mercury in Pisces. It's time to stop procrastinating and to make a decision so that you can move forward with a priority. If you need to do more research, do so. But don't overthink the situation. Listen to your heart. So the same way that you realized recently, perhaps, that you need to listen to your heart, now you're going to actually do it. Even if you need to look into it more first, or even like looking into it more can be looking into you more, right? More introspection or whatever you got to do. Once you do that, then, you know, follow your heart is the best route. Masculine's higher self. The Three of Spring. So this is the Three of Wands. Like I said, I clarified the Tower yesterday in the general reading for the air signs with the Three of Wands. So it's showing up again. Stop to take time to review and to make long-term plans, capitalizing upon your past successes. It's appropriate to pat yourself on the back for all of your accomplishments, but you may also need patience for the next phase to play out. Yes, the Three of Spring can be about patience. It is a positive card in terms of love, but for committed relationships in particular, the relationship is only going to work when the Three of Wands shows up if like you respect each other equally and mutually. Like if there's balance between you. And if there's not, then you guys definitely at least need to talk, and you know, there's a possibility that things are not going to work. If you also means if you ever like recently met somebody, again, they hold you in very high regard, high esteem, you know, so they like you as much as you like them, and that can be a positive thing. If you're single and you've been having trouble meeting people, it is perhaps because you work too much. Three of Autumn can be about work, right? Co-workers and stuff like that. You work too much, or work is too much in the way of your love life. And it can also be why you're having difficulty in your relationships, because one or both of you is focused too much on work. So that's where the imbalance is coming in. You need some time for your relationship too, for being social. So that may be what you have to figure out in the near future. Like, how am I going to find balance in this area? Or is it worth it to me? Like, am I that interested in the relationship that I want to do that? Or would I rather work and maybe not be in a relationship right now? That's up to you. Blocks to individual or shared progress. Other than that, of course. Ten of Winter, Ten of Swords. So some sort of difficult situation. But again, coming to an end in the near future, just like our last spread indicated, the end of a career path, project, or relationship brings feelings of mixed sadness and joy. So look, even if you, let's say, were married and you got divorced, and if you're already interested in somebody and if you tried already to spark a relationship, they might say, okay, you're divorced now, you're getting divorced now, like we should be able to, you know, kick things into gear. Not necessarily, because you may still be dealing with mixed feelings. You know, even if you wanted out of relationship, if you were in one for a long time or whatever, you have children together, whatever the reason is, it can be sad. Or sometimes we can just feel like a failure, right? Like my marriage didn't work, my long-term relationship didn't work, whatever the case is. And, you know, so again, it's mixed feelings. I'm happy to be out of it. It was toxic. It wasn't healthy. But at the same time, I feel some kind of way, right? So fixed feelings of mixed joy and sadness, relief and disappointment. Disappointment in yourself, disappointment in the person. Put aside those fears, though, about the changes in those feelings, and trust. So this speaks to the Seven of Swords again, right? Rather than being distrustful and worried and paranoid, trust that a brighter future awaits, that things are going to get better. So you're like leading with a positive attitude and putting that energy into the universe so that that can be what you receive. How the feminine can help herself, other than the ways that I just suggested. Queen of Spring. This is you being in your full power, confident, vivacious, passionate about what you're into, what you care about. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. And it's sitting here next to the dream card, right? In the near future. You may have several priorities, and that's what the Seven of Cups can be representative of, all these different options and priorities. Several vying for your attention at once, but you can handle it. You can do it. The Queen of Spring, if she's the direct fire sign, is a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, but she doesn't have to be. She can just be somebody of those traits and attributes this week. And of course, the Queen of Spring is also one half of that Two of Spring, Two of Wands that showed up in the last spread for the feminine. You know, the quintessential divine feminine of the tarot. What the masculine can do to help himself, it is Six of Summer. So you may be masculine, your guidance, you know, is related to your past. It can be letting go of something from the past, right? And conducive in connection to this block, letting go of those energies and instead looking forward and moving forward, expecting a better future. It can involve somebody from the past, a relationship specifically from the past. Again, getting back together with an ex, or a friend coming into your life, a friend coming back, returning, and maybe developing into something more. The loving care of children could become an important part of your life, or, and maybe that's in connection to some sort of family, like I said, family court, or, separation or something. Children could be an integral part this week, very specific. Or people from your childhood may return to it, or from your past. It doesn't have to be your childhood. Old memories can be healed, so we can be fixing things from the past. Or possibly old childhood dreams could be revived. What the universe recommends to each, masculine and feminine, or both, all of us, to do, and even wants to help us with. Oh, wow. Major Arcana card 6, the Lovers, which most directly represents the sign of Gemini. True and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart with caring actions and choices. And the universe wants to help you to do that. So, allow it to. And the outcome. 8 of Summer, moving on from, or moving forward. You feel that there's more to life than what you're living. So it's time to move on. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you. Or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you're in control. I'm sort of tempted to pull another card for that one, but it's pretty straightforward. It says like either we're getting out of something that's not working, like I just talked about here, or, we're moving towards something that will be fabulous. So I guess I should stop there. Let's see what else the cards have to say, though, to the masculine and feminine, respectively. Also using the Universal Love Oracle here. This card, Embrace, looks like a couple in a very loving hug, and it may be for some of us, right? That may be true for some of us, but the card, as the author intended, is really more about one person's inner masculine and feminine coming together in a balanced and harmonious way. So that's super important this week. Okay, masculine, specific to you, golden memories. So again, something from your past, or some things from your past, should go with you forward, right? They're positive. They make you who you are now. Positive things. Other things, you need to let it burn, right? It's something that's holding you back. It is toxic. It is not conducive to your growth. Leave it there in the past, behind. It may be connected to a fire sign. Direct fire sign does not have to be, but could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And or again, it may be connected to Venus, the fact that she's entering Aries, and what that transit is encouraging you to do. Whether it is or it's not. The more important thing is you can't take these like heavy bags with you into your future. They say like if you try to rebuild your new house with the old bricks, you're basically bringing your old house to this new place. And the same thing goes for relationships. If you you bring your baggage from the past into your new relationship, then you're going to funk up your new relationship with that baggage. So leave those things behind and only take the the positive memories and lessons with you forward. Feminine, meditation. This may be how we figure things out, right? We're guided to sort of do more research and find some clarity and introspection, and meditation is going to help you to do all of that. It doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to sit Indian style. You certainly don't have to be naked, but the naked female for me is an indication of the need for full surrender, right? You are no more vulnerable than you are when you're nude. Right, that's when we're at our most vulnerable, in my opinion, at least. And so that's what the picture is signifying. But you don't have to be seated, Indian style, as they say. You don't have to be in a prayer pose. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to go to any kind of temple or anything. You could be, chilling in whatever way you prefer to chill. listening to music, not listening to music, guided meditation, not, you can go to a center with other people, some sort of group thing or yoga, however you find peace, you're guided to do it. Peace and quiet and the ability to think things through. Very nice. Masculine. It's another 2 for you. Major Arcana card 20. Renewal or Judgment, which represents the sign of Scorpio and the planet Pluto, right? Scorpio's other ruler. Review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. It's time to move in a new direction. As it relates to relationships, judgment can mean that we've come to some sort of crossroad. And, we need to decide, like, where do we go from here? If anywhere. Some people aren't going any further. Right? The end of a relationship. And some people, we're starting again. Maybe we're in the past. We're picking up where we left off. And we're going to make it happen. Also, it's about abundance that's earned. So it's blessings that are coming from the universe. And because we deserve it. Because we deserve it. Because we've done the work. So that can be another meaning of the 3 of autumn, having done the work, as they say. You had those dark nights of the soul. You had those, that Kundalini awakening and all that kind of stuff. You've been through it. And now you're in a place where you deserve the reward, right, for the work that you put in. And so that's what judgment represents. Also, it's for second time around. Second chances can be what judgment is about too. So in terms of love, maybe again, second opportunities at love, an ex or something. This time around, things working between you. Feminine. It is Major Arcana card 12, Awakening. So another 3. Awakening is actually the hangman in the traditional tarot, which represents the planet Neptune in the sign of Pisces, where Mercury is going to be. Look at things from a different perspective. So rather than the way you had been picturing everything, consider other sides, like a King of Air, right? The King of Swords that popped up in the last spread. You may be at a temporary standstill, or it may feel like you are, like nothing's happening, nothing's moving in the meantime. Use that opportunity. It's important to be yourself. It means it's important to be true to yourself and to be honest, not to be 7 of Swords. We got to keep it real in terms of what we want, who we want, and how we feel we need to go about those things in an honest and genuine way. So when the energy picks back up, we're ready, right? We've already done the introspection. We've already done the consideration, and we're ready to actually put some action behind it. And lastly, from the Animal Tarot, it's the Prince of Spring, or Knight of Wands. Passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless. He too, like the Queen here. You guys got a lot of fire cards going on. So I think the masculine is very much being affected by the Venus in Aries transit. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Yeah, your relationships or your ability to develop one or to meet somebody. Moving quickly is important, yet there's nothing that you can handle if you follow your own inner guidance. So definitely pay attention to your intuition and what your heart's telling you to do, your gut's telling you to do. And it's our second 4 of Cups. Before, specifically, the water signs got one. Now the feminine is getting one in general. Your responsibilities may distract you from all the gifts that God is presenting to you. That's why maybe you have to look around and pay closer attention and consider other things. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. Somebody wants to take you out all of a sudden, consider, definitely give some real consideration to accepting, being a little social, maybe going to a group gathering. Somebody may introduce you, a friend may introduce you to a friend or something like that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the love reading. If you did, or you learned something from it, or whatever, you just want to be nice to me and help me out, please actually indicate that you like the love reading by giving it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do consider subscribing by not only hitting the subscribe button, but the bell button also, so that you can hopefully get your notifications that I've put up a new video. If you are interested in your own personal reading or energy healing, or just to chat with me or be my friend, all the information to do any and all of that, as well as for any merchandise that we have, will be in the description box for you to, I'm on social media, you want to hook up with me, I would love for you to do that. All that information is there, and I will be back soon. Namaste.